All right, so let's jump right in. Today we're taking a deep dive into one of those stories that, well, kind of leaves you scratching your head at first.
Yeah.
But stick with us, because this one's from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And you know there's going to be some seriously deep stuff hiding under the surface.
Always. We're talking the horse and the pump this time.
The horse and the pump. So we've got this guy, right? Doesn't believe in mischievous spirits, those trickster types. At all.
Very grounded, practical guy.
Exactly. Sees the world pretty straightforwardly.
Yeah.
You know, what you see is what you get kind of thing.
Until he gets a visit from well, the story calls him a jester or a mocker, a let's.
A let's.
Yeah.
Not usually a good sign in these stories.
Definitely not. So this let's convinces the guy to step outside one evening and get this. He's got a horse with him, a gorgeous horse.
Yeah.
Beautiful, strong, valuable looking.
Like way more valuable than the price he's asking, right?
Oh, absolutely. The let's is only asking for 4 red rubles for this horse.
4 red rubles?
4! When anyone could see it's worth at least 8, probably even more.
Okay, so obviously our guy's thinking, what's the catch?
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't. That's where his whole no such thing as mischievous spirits thing comes back to bite him.
Ah, I see where this is going. He totally falls for it.
Hook, line, and sinker. 4 red rubles. For a horse like that, he thinks he's hit the jackpot.
Yeah, classic too good to be true situation, right? And I'm guessing this is where things start to unravel for our friend.
Oh, yeah. This is just the beginning. And for you listening, this is where things get really interesting. Because what Rabbi Nachman is doing here in this story is giving us this incredible look into how we as humans, well, how we chase after things, how we get caught up in illusions, how desire can kind of lead us astray.
So we're not just talking about some guy and a horse, right? This is about all of us.
Exactly. It's about the things we value, the things we think will make us happy, and the lengths we'll go to get them.
Okay, so he's bought the horse, now what?
Well, naturally, he thinks, I'm going to flip this horse, make a quick profit, so off he goes to the market.
Makes sense.
But here's where it gets interesting. People start offering him good prices for the horse, and he refuses.
What? Why would he do that?
Because he's convinced it's worth even more. His greed kicks in. He thinks, if they're willing to pay that much, it must be worth even more than that.
Oh, so it's not just about the money. It's about
the perceived value. The more people offer, the more valuable he thinks the horse is, and the more he wants.
It's like a spiral.
Exactly. He goes from market to market, getting higher and higher offers, but he never sells. He just keeps chasing a bigger and bigger number.
Wow, he's really lost in this, isn't he?
Completely. The story even says that the king wanted to buy the horse, offered a fortune, but our guy still refused.
The king? I mean, come on. That's got to be a sign that something's seriously wrong here.
Oh, it's a huge sign, but he's so blinded by his greed he can't see it.
And isn't this where that idea of the other side comes in? The Sitra Achra.
Exactly. That force of illusion and deception. Rabbi Nachman is pretty clearly saying here that this guy's being led astray, manipulated by something outside of himself.
And this is something we can all relate to, right? That feeling of being pulled in different directions by our desires, not always making the best choices.
Absolutely. We might not have kings offering us fortunes for our horses, but we all have those moments where we get caught up in wanting something, maybe more than we should.
Okay, so he's stuck with his horse. Nobody's willing to pay his crazy price. What happens next?
Well, he decides to water the horse at a well with a pump.
A pump. Why is that important?
Well, think about it. A pump has a really narrow opening, right?
Yeah, pretty small.
And this horse, this magnificent, powerful horse, well, it suddenly jumps into the pump, just disappears into that tiny opening. Poof, gone.
Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense. How could a horse?
That's the point. It's impossible. It's a clear illustration of the fact that this horse was never real. It was an illusion, a trick.
Oh, wow. So the pump is like...
It's like the point where reality breaks down, where the illusion can't be sustained anymore.
And how does our guy react to this?
Well, he completely freaks out, starts crying, tearing his hair out. He's lost his fortune, or at least what he thought was his fortune.
I can only imagine. And I bet the people around him are thinking.
They think he's gone completely mad. I mean, who wouldn't? He's screaming about a horse jumping into a tiny pump. It's absurd.
So what do?
They try to calm him down, but he keeps ranting and raving about the horse. Eventually, they start beating him.
Beating him? Seriously?
Yeah. They're trying to get him to snap out of it, but he just won't let it go. He's so fixated on the loss of this horse, this illusion, that he's completely lost touch with reality.
This is getting darker and darker.
And it gets even weirder because, get this, The horse's head pops out of the pump.
Way it comes back.
Sort of. The head appears, then disappears. And every time it does, the guy starts screaming again, and the townspeople beat him again.
It's like a horrible, repeating nightmare.
It is. And that's the point. Rabbi Nachman is showing us how we can get trapped in these cycles of illusion and suffering. We cling to things that aren't real, even when they cause us pain. And we keep going back for more, even when we know better.
Okay, so to recap for everyone listening, we've got a guy who doesn't believe in the supernatural, but gets tricked into buying a magical horse. His greed takes over, he loses the horse in impossible fashion, everyone thinks he's crazy, and he keeps getting beat up because he can't let go of the illusion.
Pretty much.
But obviously there's more to it than that, right?
Yeah.
This story has got to be about more than just a guy, a horse, and a pump.
Right. On a very practical level, it's a warning about the dangers of greed and materialism. It's saying, don't get so caught up in chasing after things that you lose sight of what's truly important.
And what about those 4 red rubles? I keep thinking about that detail.
Those represent the things that blind us, the things we think are valuable but actually aren't. Could be money, status, possessions, whatever. The things we chase after that ultimately leave us empty.
And the horse appearing and disappearing from the pump.
That shows how we can get caught in these cycles of temptation. We see a glimpse of what we want, even though we know it's not real, and we get drawn back in.
So how does the Kabbalah view this story?
Well, Kabbalistically, the horse represents illusion, falsehood. And the Liletz, the jester, is like the force of negativity that tries to lead us astray.
So like a demonic force.
You could say that. It's that part of ourselves that wants to distract us from our true purpose, from connecting with the divine.
And the pump.
The pump represents truth, specifically the truth of Torah, which is often compared to water in Kabbalah. And notice how the horse can't exist in the presence of the pump. The illusion disappears when it comes into contact with truth.
That's pretty powerful imagery. And what about the beatings?
Those represent the challenges we face when we try to cling to illusion. It can be painful to let go of what we think we want, even when we know it's not good for us.
So this story is really a call to wake up, isn't it? To examine our desires, to question what we value, and to make sure we're not chasing after empty illusions.
Exactly. It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes from connecting with something deeper, something more real than the fleeting things of this world.
So as you go about your day, think about those horses you might be chasing. Are they leading you towards something meaningful, or are they just illusions that will ultimately leave you empty? And what are your 4 red rubles? What are those things that might be blinding you to what's truly important?
These are questions worth pondering, because the truth is, we all have our own horses and our own pumps. The key is to recognize them and make choices that lead us towards truth, towards real and lasting fulfillment.
And maybe avoid getting beat up in the process.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.